Thank you for joining Frequently Asked Questions. I'm Jeremy Morgan. I'm a nurse practitioner at Access Solutions Rheumatology in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the question is, what are the neuromuscular and functional burdens of living with HPP, also known as hypophosphatasia? So a lot of people think of hypophosphatasia as being an infantile disease. 1 out of every 200,000 patients has this as an infant. Half of them die at birth, but that's severe cases. And we can have mild cases of HPP that go unrecognized in infancy, even in childhood and teenage years. The burden that we see neuromuscular wise is these patients start to complain of bone pain and joint pain that is diagnosed as growing pains as children. And sometimes this doesn't hit until they're in their teenage years that they start to have this depending on the severity of their genetic disorder. These patients will complain of frequent fractures of the feet. They can. I have some patients who have never broken a single bone, but they have lots of cavities. So bone pain is very common. Joint pain is very common because these patients tend to have softer bones. And so therefore, people with osteoporosis or osteopenia tend to complain of bone pain and joint pain. They also have enthesitis, so a lot of swelling of the entheses. And this is sometimes just tenderness of the Achilles tendon, tenderness of the plantar fascia, and the epicondyles all along the spine. Sometimes these patients are diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And so this is something that can really limit the patient. They don't like to stand for long periods of time, more than 10 minutes. They have trouble because their feet hurt. And sometimes when they break the bones in their feet, they don't even realize they've broken one of the bones of their feet because their feet just hurt that bad all the time. So these patients are very limited with what type of activities they can do, what type of family vacations they can go on. Going to any sort of events where there's lots of walking or standing involved, it limits them in their career choices because they hurt so much. You're not going to find a patient with HPP probably being a nurse walking the floor at the hospital. The other thing that we see with these patients is they end up sometimes getting their teeth pulled because they have so many cavities. It limits their social interactions. It limits how they eat. And it really can be a tremendous life-altering condition. The other thing that's very frustrating for these patients is because this condition the knowledge of this condition is not really well known, these patients flounder in pain management. They flounder in rheumatology. They go to podiatrists and they're like, man, you keep breaking all these bones in your feet and your bones are really thin. It's just bad osteoporosis. Or they end up in a metabolic clinic for their osteoporosis and they go undiagnosed. And it can be extremely frustrating and disheartening for these patients. And it is really important for us to recognize these patients and help them recognize their disease and start treating it properly. And so I really appreciate you all tuning in for Frequently Asked Questions. Feel free to visit WRAP Content Room or the WRAP ACE app for more information on HPP or other autoimmune diseases. Thank you.